Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. So today is going to be my update for my palette rotation series and just my monthly palette usage update. So if you are interested, then keep on watching. So I have my 5 palettes that I had in for the month of July, which I will go over in a bit. But first I do want to talk about some of my overall palette usage for the month. So in total, I did use 29 out of my 72 palettes, and my most used this month was my Nomad Cosmetics America's Parks palette, with a total of 3 uses. So I will talk more about this palette in a little bit because it was a part of my palette rotation, but I did use this one 3 times, which was the most that I used a palette this month. I know it's not a lot, but obviously I do have a lot of palettes, so I try and use as many as I can, so I usually only get like 1 or 2 uses out of my palettes per month. And my number of palettes in my collection did go up, so I did bring in 2 new palettes to my collection. So the first one is another Nomad palette. This is their new France palette. And here is what this one looks like. I did do a first impressions video using this palette where I created 2 looks, and I have another video using this palette coming soon. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that, but I will link the video that I've already done with this palette down below. And then the second palette that I purchased was the Delancey Panda palette, and I also did a first impressions video on this, which I will link below. And this was just a nice little cool gray tone palette to add to my collection. So those are the 2 that I brought into my collection this month. Next we will talk about the pans that I hit. So my first one comes from my I Heart Revolution Beauty and the Beast palette. And I hit pan on the shade Magic Mirror. It's a little hard to see since it is a white shade. So this one is kind of hard to show, but there is a little baby pan in there. I'm really hoping that the camera is going to be able to pick that up. But I did really enjoy using the shade. This is one of my favorite white shimmers in my collection. I really like the formula of it. And yeah, I'm happy to have pan in it. My second pan comes from my Glitter Realm A Whole New World palette. And it is in the shade Enchantment. So this makes 2 pans in this palette. I also have pan in the shade Sultan, which I hit earlier this year. But I did get pan in this beautiful purple shade. So there is a little speck of pan in here. I absolutely love this shade. This is probably my favorite shade in this palette, and yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful. I love wearing this all over my lid. I think it is just absolutely stunning, and yeah, one of my favorite shades in my collection and definitely my favorite shade in this palette, and I'm so happy that it is showing some love and it now has a pan in it. So in total now I have 48 pans out of 999 shades. I am almost at 1,000 shades in my collection, but I am just shy of it and it's irritating me a little bit, I'll be honest, but 48 shades, so that is just over 4.8% pan in my collection, which isn't a great number, but I am slowly increasing that, which is nice, and I'm always excited to see that go up, even if it's just a little bit. Alright, now we can talk about my palettes that I had in for my palette rotation series. So I did use each of these at least 1 time. So I will just go through them in the order that they're stacked up here. There's really no particular order to this. But the first one I have up is my Tartlette Toasted palette. And here is what this one looks like. I will insert a picture of the look that I created this past month with this palette. So this is kind of hard to show with the gold packaging, but I just did a super simple look this past month. I am really working towards hitting pan on cashmere, so I put that basically everywhere. I blended it through my crease, packed it on my lid, and then I used Latte as some winged liner. I didn't want to go super deep or anything with my liner. I wanted it to be just very wearable, so I chose a fairly light shade, and I did really like how that turned out. And then just to get some use out of a couple of the other shades, I put Crackle and Flame really tight to my lower lash line. You probably can barely even see that. And then I did, I think, Sunrise in my inner corner. It was either Sunrise or Candle. And yeah, just a super simple, super easy to wear look, but I did really enjoy how it turned out. So like I said, I am really trying to hit pan in cashmere this year. I feel like I'm getting close, but I also know that these pans are very deep, so we'll see how long it takes me to get there. But overall, I really do love this palette. It is a nice staple warm tone palette to have in my collection. I typically like to reach for it more in the fall time, but I feel like the look that I created was just a nice summery type look with this palette. So yeah, I really did enjoy having this in this past month. So the next palette I had in was my I Heart Revolution Tangled palette. And here is what this one looks like. So I will insert a picture of the look that I created. And for this look, I focused on more of the green and yellow shades. So I used Glow through the crease, deepened it up with golden, and then used Pastel on the outer portion of the crease. And then I put Brothers in the outer corner, blended it with Flynn Rider a little bit. And then Paper Lanterns is on the first half of the lid. And then I did Maximus in the inner corner. And I did really like how this look turned out. I kind of wish I had done something a little bolder with the color choices. I feel like I could have done a little bit more, but I did wear this look to work, so I didn't want to go too crazy with it. But if I was to redo this look and just for like an Instagram post or something, I would have probably gone a lot bolder with it. But for an everyday look, I was really happy with how it turned out. I really like this palette, and I really wanted to create another look this month, but I just didn't get around to it. But I have no doubt that I will create more looks with it very soon. Alright, then the second princess palette I had in this month was my I Heart Revolution Mulan palette. So here is what this one looks like, and I will of course insert a picture of the look that I created. So for this look, I packed Hero all over the lid, blended it up into the crease, and then I used Con as a winged liner, and then I did Leader and Shan Yu on the lower lash line, and then packed, I think, Gong in the inner corner. I might have put a little of Emperor over it as well. This look was not my favorite. I think I was just having a bad makeup day that day. I think my allergies were acting up, if I remember correctly, and my eyes were just super watery. I felt like I did the wing much bolder than I had intended to, and I just really did not enjoy my eye look this day. I don't really think it had anything to do with the palette. I think my eyes were just super watery and irritated already, and trying to put makeup on over that was just not a good plan. But I don't mind how this look came out. This palette in general isn't my favorite, I will be honest, but it is one that I am trying to get some more use out of, just because There are some nice shades in here. It's just one, I've said this before with this palette, it confuses me. The color story just, I don't know what to do with it all the time, but it's one that I do intend to keep testing out and trying to make nice looks with. Alright, next we have my Nomad America's Parks palette, so my most used palette this month. I did create 2 everyday looks with this palette, and then I think I might have paired it with a palette or something, so that one doesn't count, but I do have 2 looks to share for this video. So for this first one, I used the yellow shade Old Faithful, blended it with Half Dome and Blue Ridge Parkway, and just tried to do those shades through the crease. I don't feel like it turned out the absolute best. I feel like I should have spent a little bit more time with it, but that's okay. And then, if I remember correctly, I put Mammoth Cave all over the lid and then Cuyahoga Valley in the inner corner. And it turned out to be kind of a grungier look, but I did enjoy it. I think the photo of this look isn't the best in my opinion, but I think in person it looked really nice. And then I will insert a picture of the second look that I created. And for this look, I used Giant Redwoods through the crease, deepened it up once again with Half Dome, and then I took the narrows on the outer corner, or no, I did Tatton Range in the outer corner, then the narrows, and then Delicate Art in the kind of first half of the crease, and then once again did Cuyahoga Valley in the inner corner, and Acadia Lighthouse on the lower lash line. And I kind of created this look so that I would get use out of the entire palette. I've officially used every shade in this palette this year, so that's my goal with all of my palettes, is to touch every shade at least once throughout the year, and I did that this month with this palette, so I was really happy about that, and I really did enjoy how this look came out as well. So this palette has just been an absolute favorite of mine this past month. I know 3 times doesn't seem like a lot to reach for a palette, but I felt like I just couldn't put this palette down, and especially the last couple months, because I used it a handful of times last month as well. So yeah, I've just really been enjoying this palette. I love Nomad's formula. I love their color stories. Obviously, I just picked up a new Nomad palette, so yeah, definitely a brand that I am falling in love with. Alright, last up we have my Hot Topic Pokemon palette. So here is what this one looks like. And of course, I will insert a picture of the look that I created. So for this look, I went with the orangey shades through the crease, deepened it up with these matte brown shades, and then did this shade over here on the first kind of 2/3 of the lid, blending it with the outer corner matte shades. And then I did this bluish shimmer on the lower lash line, and then the white matte shade in the inner corner. Blue and orange is a color combo that I absolutely love for the summertime. This is one of my favorite looks to do with the blue on the lower lash line. And I just had to do it with this palette because the shades are just right there calling for me to do that. So I did enjoy the look that I created this past month with this palette. Overall, I'm really happy with this palette. This is only the second or third time that I've used this palette, which is kind of sad, but it is one that I do want to keep reaching for. I feel like I should have reached for it more over the summer because, like I said, this is a color story that I really love during the summer. But I think I can get some good use out of this top 2 rows in the fall, orange, and especially this type of color I really love during the fall. So I think this will continue to be a palette that I can reach for throughout the year. But yeah, I did really enjoy the look that I created, and I had a fun time playing with this palette. So those are the 5 palettes that I had in for the month of July. Let me know which of the looks was your favorite from this month, and we can get into drawing our 5 palettes for August. Alright, so now we can get into choosing our new palettes for August. I cannot believe it is going to be August already. That is crazy. But I did download the Tiny Decisions app. I've seen a lot of YouTubers use this app for their different project panning projects, and I decided it might be easier for me to do it this way, and then you guys can see what actual palette gets chosen when I spin the wheel. So I will be spinning this 5 times, of course, to get 5 new palettes. So the first one is going to be my Bubella Cosmetics Oh Poppy palette. I was actually really hoping this palette was going to get drawn soon because I have not used it that much this year, and I do really enjoy it, so I am very excited about this one. Next up, we have my Ulta Gryffindor palette, another one I am excited about. Then we have the I Heart Revolution Princess and the Frog palette. We're getting some good palettes this month. I'm really excited. And then we have my I Heart Revolution The Little Mermaid palette. And one more. My Ulta Beauty Desert Skies palette. So I am going to go grab all 5 of those, and I will be right back to show them to you. Okay, I have all 5 of our new palettes right here, so I will go through them really quickly. So the first one that was drawn was my Oh Poppy palette from Bubella Cosmetics, and here is what this one looks like on the inside. So just lots of nice warm-toned shadows. Very excited about this one. Like I said, I have been looking for an excuse to use this palette as it has been a little neglected this year. So I'm very excited that it got drawn in, and I feel like this is a really good end of summer, beginning of fall palette. So I feel like this month is going to be just the perfect time to use this. Then we have my Ulta Gryffindor palette. So kind of similar things to say about this. I feel like this one is a good going into fall palette as well. So I am very excited that this one got drawn in this month. It's fairly neutral, but I do really enjoy this palette. I've always enjoyed the looks that I create, even though they do end up looking pretty similar on the eyes, but it's just a nice staple sort of palette to have, and I do enjoy it. Then we have my Princess and the Frog palette from I Heart Revolution. So lots of beautiful shades in here. I am very excited that this one got drawn in. It is one, again, I've been looking to reach for more this year. I feel like that's the case with a lot of my palettes because I have so many. That's why I love this project. I love rotating through my palettes, even if I'm just using them once or twice a month. It just makes me feel like I am getting at least some use out of my palettes. So I am very excited to work on this one. And then another princess palette for My Heart Revolution. This is the Little Mermaid palette. And this one has some very beautiful shades. This one is a bit more on the colorful side, has some nice pastels in it, but it does have some nice deepening shades as well. So I am excited to use this one and see what look I create. Alright, then last up is my Ulta Beauty Desert Skies palette. And here is what this one looks like. So once again, just a warmer tone neutral palette, but I do love warm tones, so this one will be really easy for me to use for an everyday look, and I am excited to get at least one more use out of it. So those are the 5 palettes that will be in for August. I am super excited about this month and getting some use out of these palettes, and I can't wait to see the looks that I come up with. It's probably going to be a fairly neutral month, but that's okay. I do love my neutrals. So yes, I am very excited about these palettes. Let me know what you think of the palettes that I brought in, what you think of this project as a whole. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future uploads. If you are interested in this project, I do also have a playlist if you would like to follow along that way. And I update it on the first Tuesday of every month. And with all of that said, I will see you in my next video. Bye!